go a little something like this.
Welcome to Talk About Your Period, the podcast where we do just that, talk about periods. I'm your host, Karen Daubert, and each episode I speak with fellow menstruators about how their menstrual cycle has impacted their lives. In a world that tells us to hide our pads and tampons, we're speaking out together to end the stigma. No one should feel ashamed to talk about their period. After all, it's just blood. Hey, thanks for listening today and welcome back to Talk About Your Period, the podcast. I am again very happy to be here with you today with my friend Jaya Amin from Child Rights and You. If you heard the last episode of my podcast, I had Jaya on and Jaya talked about her period, her personal experiences with menstruation, and how that journey has progressed throughout her life. If you didn't listen to the last episode, I go suggest you listen to it. I think we had some really wonderful conversation. But if you didn't listen to it, I do want to say that I met Jaya online. She is someone who works with an organization in India called Child Rights and You, or the acronym CRY. And today we're having a very special episode. We're going to focus on CRY, the organization. They are currently doing a Let's Talk About Periods campaign. It's actually closing out pretty soon. And I wanted to bring her on today to talk about CRY and all the amazing work that they've been doing to help end periods shame in India and also help children out in getting them resources, education, and just making sure that kids are feeling comfortable with starting their periods in India. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what Jaya has to say today and learn more about this wonderful organization that's really making an active difference in the period culture of India. So, Jaya, thank you so much for joining me again.
Thank you so much for having me here, Karen. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm really happy that you could come back for a second episode and we can dive more into this wonderful organization. Jaya got in touch with me online about their Let's Talk About Periods campaign, and that's how we are here together today. And we have had a lot of fun conversations, scheduling, and talking about our collaboration for this month. And of course, the last episode we recorded, I personally had a really fun time with. So hopefully you did too, Jaya.
Yeah. I think the conversation that we had was super fun. And I am so glad that you had those questions because it was amazing to walk through the entire thing again and to just, think about my younger days. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. I think it's wonderful what you're doing. And, the conversations, you're just building that sort of community in people, that sense of responsibility and to just create awareness about periods, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. It's a great thing. I'm just so glad and happy that I could be a part of it. Like I could be a small part of this.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'm so happy that you enjoyed your experience being on my podcast. And it's just my goal to just talk to people who have periods, just hear everyone's story. Everyone comes from different backgrounds and different home lives that can, change and manipulate how that period experience from, the first time you have your period, how that, affects you throughout your whole period journey. So I'm really appreciative of you to share those stories, and I'm so glad that you liked what I'm doing here. It was really fun. So again, if you didn't listen to that last episode, go back and listen to it. I think our conversation was really fun to listen to. Now today, Jaya, I'm so excited to talk more about child rights and you. I've just done a lot of research as I've been doing this collaboration with you for the past month, and it's been really informational for me to just read up a little bit about what the organization is like and how it's making such an amazing impact on communities all across India, across 19 different states. You're doing incredibly noble work, and I really commend you for taking this path in life. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about the organization itself, and then we're going to dive a little bit more into the specific period campaign. And, I hope you grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and, sit back, relax, and listen to us talk about this amazing organization. So, Jaya, let's just get right off the bat. So, if you could describe it, what is CRY?
So Cry Child Rights in You, it's an Indian non-profit organization that that works for to ensure that underprivileged children in India get a happy, creative, healthy childhood. And through the years, through the journey, it's been over 42 years for Cry, and we've been impacted over 3 million children across India, and we work with 102 grassroots level NGOs in 19 different states. So that is CRY. CRY is an Indian non-profit organization that works to ensure that children have the childhood that they deserve.
Wow. That's crazy. That's such a big impact, and I didn't realize that the organization had been around for so long. That's so cool that you get to be a part of such an impactful organization that's really, you know, truly helping communities all across India. That's so cool. And with that being said, I know you touched on it in our last episode, but for those of you who, or for our guests who haven't heard the last episode, would you just touch a little bit again at what your role at Cry is and how you got involved, and what do you like most about working for Cry?
Right. So, like I had, like I had mentioned in the last episode that we had, I have come across Cry at a point where I was actually looking for a more purpose-driven role, and it happened when I saw that I have this opportunity with Cry. It immediately took me back to the an old memory of mine when I was probably in the fourth or fifth grade, and my sister was a volunteer with Cry, and she, as a part of that, she was actually raising funds for Cry, and and I was going along with her to do that. So I didn't know what was happening, and I asked her what we are doing. Why are we asking people if they can donate any amount? And then she just put it simply, saying that there are kids like you who can't go to school, who can't get healthy meals to eat, so we're just helping those kids. And I feel like when I just saw that, it just came back to me, and it was just like an instant click. And it's been a privilege to really work with Cry, because I've been with Cry for over 4 years now, and the kind of work or the kind of effort that everybody comes in with, like the kind of passion that they have to do and to keep doing things for children, and the kind of efforts that they put into it, I feel like it's tremendous, and I feel like it's commendable. The passion, the sheer passion to actually do something, and to be at it every single time, and there have been so many people who have been in this organization for so long, and I just feel like it's such a great thing to look at them, to see that they are so motivated to do to give children what they deserve. And honestly, when I also had the privilege to actually meet kids, like I was honored, I was actually humbled to meet them, and visit project areas and see how these kids interact with them, have a conversation with them. And I feel like it's I learned so much from those visits. Like I learned so much from children, and they are such they talk to you about things that you may not even realize, and they sort of like highlight the things that you'd never think of. So I feel like it's it's so much of learning that happens when you visit when I visit project areas, and when I meet kids, their enthusiasm, the kind of things that how they look at stuff, and how they look at things, and how resilient they are with every single thing. I feel like it's empowering, but I feel like there's so much to that I can learn from them. So it's been an absolute journey to work with Cry, to work with with the people, to work with an organization that truly believes in the fact that children need to be respected, they need to have a voice, they need to be given what they deserve, and they are the backbone of our country, and they are the future. So they need to be they need to have their rights. They need to be given every single thing that they deserve, for them to actually, actually become the individuals that they want to be. So I feel like it's a great place to work. It comes from a great thought as well. And I think it's just, I'm so glad that I'm a small part of this, and I can make a small difference in whatever way that I can. And it's just wonderful. It's wonderful that I can have like a meaningful impact, in the society, in however small way that I am doing right now.
Oh, well, I think you have a bigger impact than I think you might be aware of. I mean, just your passion for what you do speaks volumes. And, every day that you interact with someone, whether it be with the children directly or what you've been doing behind the scenes, getting the word out about all these campaigns, you're a big reason why, the word is getting spread about this wonderful organization. So you're playing a bigger role than I think you're giving yourself credit for. And what a wonderful passion project that you've committed yourself to, and what a fun environment working with like-minded people who see the value in children and how children deserve rights and respect and resources so that they can grow into the best people that they can be. Like you said, children are the backbone of our country, and I think the best way that we can invest in our country, whatever country it may be, is investing in children, and investing in their prosperity and their education and their growth. So, wow, like I just love hearing you speak about it because it is so nice to hear someone just be so enthusiastic about what they do, and what an amazing organization that you work for. So it's truly an honor that I get to speak with you. It's so cool that you have devoted your life to this. It is so necessary and it is absolutely wonderful. So that's so cool. I love to hear you talk about it. Now, before I move on to the next question, I kind of have a follow-up question based off of what you shared. And you said that you've had the opportunity to work with children in person, and you said it was in some of the project areas. When you're meeting children in person, what's that experience like for you? In what environments are you interacting with the children?
So I have, I have visited a couple of projects, and they are different from one another. And some of two of it were in a village, and and the kind of things. And one of the projects was in Bombay, in an in an urban slum. So the two are very different. Like the three or the four projects that I visited, they are very different from one another. And but I think one thing that's common is how children are so excited to meet new people. They are so enthusiastic about sharing their experiences, things that they have learned, things that they are doing in their community, in the children's collectives, and how they are actually, keeping themselves aware about things, aware about their rights. I feel like uh, every single time that I have met with kids, I have felt that they are someone, they are so smart, they are so disciplined, they are so resilient, they talk about the things, their problems, they can articulate things very well. They can talk about the solutions, what they think should be ideal, or the solutions that they think that can work in the community. And they are such enthusiastic people. They just want to, not just have that, because not just create a safer place for themselves, but also for the community, also for their other friends. So I feel like my interaction with kids has always left me with thoughts like, I could never do that when I was younger. I could never be, so aware about things. I was never aware about so many things when I was their age. It has always left me with a feeling that they are so they are so uh, uh, like they just want to be heard. They know that they are the future, and they need to be there needs to be a certain um, um, like the things that they'll require to do that. I feel like they are aware about their surroundings. They know what they want to do. They know what their dreams are, their aspirations, what they want to become, and how they want to achieve that. And they know that it all of that takes a lot of effort, and I feel like they don't shy away from that. And it's just a great, and it's just amazing how I learn so much every single visit, even if it's in a village, even if it's in a city, or or it's any different age groups of kids. They are so in tune with what they want to become, with how they see their life, and the things that they want to achieve. And with all of that, they are still kids. Like they are still kids who are jumping around, who are so excited to meet you, to talk to you, to tell you everything that they see or hear, or how tech savvy they are. Like there are so many things that just take me, like I'm just looking at them, and I'm just like thinking to myself that wow, like I wouldn't be able to do that. And of course there are also the other set of kids who are shy at first, who will not really interact immediately. They'll take some time, and they'll take some time to settle in. But once they do that, they will have that conversation with you. They will talk to you about things. And I feel like that's just amazing how they can share so much. They have the ability to think past their situation, and know that it's going to get better, and we will achieve what we want to achieve. And I feel like that's just amazing. So every single time my visit with the kids have just made me realize that there is so much of potential in them, so much that they can do. And and always left me with something or the other that I can learn from them. So I feel like it's great when I get to meet the kids. It just gives a whole different perspective to my role here, to my job here, to how I look at things, either professionally or personally. I feel like it's a different feeling altogether.
Yes, exactly. And it's so clear that you love what you do just by, how much you can speak to how wonderful working with children is. And so much of what you said really resonated with me and just made me reflect on my time as an educator. I taught 7th through 10th grade, and something I just admire in children when I have the opportunity to work with them is that, especially younger kids, they have such a strong sense of self and who they are. And it's so, as we get older, especially in our teens, we start to lose a sense of self because we start to want to conform to what we were being told or seen what we should be doing, or how are we going to be cool, or how we're focused on how we're being perceived. And the beauty that children have is just that strong sense of self, before the world tells them who they can and can't be. And just interacting with kids like that, it's no wonder, you're so excited and passionate about what you do, because you can really see, just like through children, we can really see the goodness of the world. And it's really wonderful to hear you speak so highly, of the children that you have the honor of interacting with. And it makes me wish more people, viewed children the way that you do, because there are a lot of people in the world who don't, they view children as nuisances or burdens. And it's so wonderful to hear how you really regard children so highly, and you have such a profound respect for them, as they deserve. It just really emphasizes that you are exactly in the right line of work, and that you're positively, impacting many children's lives. And, like exactly like you said, kids want to be heard. Kids are smart and, they know what's going on. And so, when people enter their lives and like you who respect them, you hear them out, and you think and you express to them that what they think and believe is worth something, it makes such an impact on them. So it's so wonderful, and just it really makes me feel so good knowing that someone like you is working with kids, because you're making such a positive impact by working with them. So um I am really interested in learning a little bit about the past, about the organization and how it was originally founded. You did say it's a 42-year-old organization, which is really that's really something. So, how was it founded, or rather, what was the inspiration for the organization in the first place?
So it's actually a beautiful story how the organization was founded. So CRY was founded in 1979 by Ripon Kapoor. He was an airline purser. Now the 70s was a time in India. It was because there was inflation. There was a protest. There were all of the other life changing scenarios, and in that period, Ripon with his friends, with his six friends, started Cry from his home. So, in probably about $2, he started this organization, and here we are, like 4 decades later, we're still with the same. Audaciousness, if I have to put it that way, that we look at the plight of the children, and we have the we it's what define it, the thing that he started. And there's a very famous saying, a quote by him, which says that, whatever I can do, I will do. And I feel like every single person in the organization, and people who have actually worked with him personally, who are still around in the organization, really, really resonate with that so much. So it's really started from a place where he really believed in the cause. He knew that children are, he are the future, and he sort of took that on. He built that. He started that from his home, at probably about $2, and he started that with his friends. And it's growing since then. And I feel like that vision that he had is just, it's amazing that at that point in time when there was so much happening, it started at that point, and it's just growing since then. And however the growth has been, like, if it's been fast or if it's been slow, at whatever pace, I feel like the organization has been able to have that impact over kids over time. And I feel that's just amazing that we're still living the thought and the vision that Ripon had. So that's just a small beautiful story of the organization and how it started.
Wow, that's remarkable. It is such a beautiful story. I feel like, you know, I suppose living in America, when I think of like nonprofits and organizations, they're always, these days at least in 2022, I feel like it's always founded by like a very famous, very wealthy celebrity or mogul or something like that. Which, hey, no problem to good charitable causes. But what a beautiful story to hear that also, like, while there was so much going on in India at the time, that they decided, just with friends, to just let's start small, and how big it's become. Like, wow, that's really amazing. I'm Thank you so much for sharing that. That is so cool. And, you did say that that's something that you found is really, really inspiring about Cry, is that like you guys have stayed in line with like the missions and the goals from the beginning of what Cry is. And in your own words, what are some of the missions, or what's the goal of Cry and its role in helping children throughout India?
So I feel like the main goal or the aim probably is to enable people to take action towards children's rights in whatever capacity that they can, to actually make them realize that they have the potential to bring about the change that they desire to see in a child's life. I feel that's the aim and that's the mission, to actually let people know that that there's potential in them to actually create that change that they want to see. So I feel like that's the core of everything that we want to do. Like the goal is to just get people to act on things, like get people to realize that there's potential there. We can do a lot of things when we're doing it together for kids, and to just make them realize that we can act and we can change a lot of things. And there are so many things that we can do for children, and we can do for their rights. And we just have to know that it's in each and every single person can and will be able to do that for kids. So that's the main aim of the organization, to just let people know that there's so much of potential in everyone. And if we all come together, there's so much that we can do for children.
That's absolutely wonderful. And I'm I'm really impressed with just how enthusiastic you are about, the line of work that you do. And um it's just it's so refreshing to hear someone speak, so positively about the future, and how through the children we really, will be able to, create a better future for the whole world, just by making sure that we're nurturing and encouraging, children in our own communities. So I absolutely love that. Now, segueing over to periods, as this is a period podcast, of course. Um, Again, I'm really happy that we got in touch with each other about the Let's Talk About Periods campaign that you guys are hosting and finishing up. I know you guys have been doing it for a while now, a couple months. Um, just to kind of give my listeners a little bit of context, um, specifically the groups that you find yourself working with on the ground in person. Um, and you did say that there's varying cultures and demographics of the kids that you guys are working with. Can you give me a little bit of an idea? Could you paint a picture of what's the culture around periods in the communities that you're working directly with? And are there any particular issues around periods that you guys are trying to focus on with those communities?
So to give you an idea about the culture of periods in India, and then I'll also talk about how it is in the communities. India is, India is a huge country. Like it's the diversity is there's so much of diversity in India. There are so many different religion, culture, and it's almost like we have about 1,400 million people are, that's the population of the country. And so with that comes different perspectives, come different that with that comes a lot of different ideologies, beliefs, and mindsets of how people look at things, how people want to perceive things, or what they want to talk about or what they don't want to talk about. So to just give you a bit of an example, like there are communities in India in the south that actually um, celebrate a girl getting her first period, because they probably dress her up and they give her gold. And that's not to say that they're but that's them celebrating the fertility of the child. But nobody's talking about, like, talking about periods or informing the kids. Or there are different myths or taboos associated to periods, where the ones that I've heard would be that women emit a certain smell or ray, which will which will turn the food bad, and so they're banned from entering kitchen or temples. So I feel like the association of taboos and myths to, like, ancestral ideologies has just it has just come down in a very warped sort of a manner. And there are so many different, like, every single part of the country has its own way of looking at periods. And there are so many different um, uh, so many different ways of how people actually talk about it, or the kind of myths and taboos that they've heard, or the stigmas associated to it. But there is so little when it comes to destigmatizing about periods, or, like, talking or telling the younger generation that it's absolutely okay to talk about it. So I feel like it's huge when it comes to addressing people, or, like, addressing your communities. And the communities that we work with, they also come from their own set of things, to break that ice, to sort of break that mentality or the mindset, and to tell them and to make them aware about what menstruation is, what is a period, and why should it not be looked at as a way that it's only for fertility, or it's only, or women shouldn't be doing this, or there are, like, so many myths associated to it. There is so much of work that goes on with it. We work with mothers, because we know that mothers are, first and foremost, very close to the kids, and they will be the best people to actually talk to their kids and tell them that what exactly they need to know, what exactly a young girl needs to know when she's probably scared or embarrassed, because nobody has spoken to her about what menstruation is. They don't even Most girls don't even know that this is something that happens until they actually get their first period. So I feel like working with mothers, we work with government healthcare workers, we work with agencies, we work with schools to sort of make sure that girls are comfortable when they have resources, they have toilets, they have water supply, they have everything that they need to sort of make themselves to let them know that they are supported, that we know that we care about them. So I feel like working with stakeholders that actually affect children, actually affect adolescent girls, is something that we look at. But we also work with adolescent girls and boys equally, because it can't be a conversation only for the girls, it can't be a conversation that women are driving for women. It needs to be a conversation where everybody is a part of it, that both girls and boys know about it, so that there is no confusion, or, like, we nobody is sort of making the other person embarrassed or ashamed, or, like, there's a sense of awkwardness when somebody is talking about it. So there is a lot of work that goes behind when we're interacting with the community, in what way we're interacting with the community. Because a lot of times they are not welcoming, a lot of times the set ideologies that they have, they may not want to break that, they may not want to um, a third person who's not even from their community come and tell them that this is wrong, and these are the things that you need to do. So they need to so the people who work closely with the communities know that they have to sort of be in sync with what the community holds, because this has been going down from generations. So there is a certain manner in which they approach the conversation, in which they know that they'll have to talk to the elders in the community, see how that's see get a sense of how they feel about it, and then probably they'll be able to talk to the kids, they'll be able to have a meeting, have children's collectives where children are talking to children about their experiences. So I feel like there is a lot of work that goes behind destigmatizing, telling the communities, parents, stakeholders, teachers, and everybody who is sort of affecting adolescent girls and boys, in a manner to make them understand, with sessions, with workshops, So there has been quite a bit of thing that happens on everyday basis, and it's not just for the campaign, but it's a thing that happens on a regular basis where we are trying to change perspectives, which are trying to bring in new perspectives to give them an idea, to tell them that maybe this is not something. What do you think? Do you think this is the right way to sort of go about it? So I feel like a lot of it needs to the conversations need to be very not in a manner that we're demeaning anything, but in a manner to just create the awareness that it needs. So the work is probably never ending, because it's not just it's a continuous process. I feel the progress will happen at some point, but there needs to be a continuous process. So it needs to happen every single day. So that's how it is usually. That's how we're looking at it. That's how every single project in the community works, when it's about menstruation, when it's about talking to kids, when it's about talking to their parents about this, and telling them that it's okay to talk about it freely. So yeah, that's how I would say that the work is a continuous process.
Definitely. And, we would like to think at one point and one day in the future, we'll all be at a place in the world where periods are respected and not a taboo. But, like you said, this is probably something we're all going to have to work on for the rest of our lives, and just, hopefully making each generation that comes after us, you know what I mean, just make it easier on them. Wow, I'm just, it's so clear that you guys have such an you guys have such a good idea about what each community that you guys are working with needs. Certainly not every community has the same feelings or opinions on periods, and so each each community is going to have different needs. And it was really interesting to hear you delve into how, different communities can really have different issues regarding period taboos or myths, that you guys are helping them work through. In particular, through, just working with y'all for the past month or so. It's been really interesting for me reading up on, all the information that you guys have been sharing on your website and on your Instagram page. Something that always stuck out to me that I was curious to hear you talk about was the myths, because being an American and growing up in America, I think you guys recently posted like a poll, and it said like, which of these period myths did you hear growing up? And I had actually never heard of any of them before. So you did just touch on, not being allowed to be in the kitchen, not being allowed to be in the temple. I believe I saw something about not washing hair. And those are totally new to me. I've never heard of those before. Yeah. So it was interesting for me to learn about that. Um, and I would also agree with you too. I really I appreciate you bringing up the fact that helping to end period shame and stigma is so much about the boys as it is the girls, and making sure that the boys are being educated properly on periods. Because I completely agree, we can't do it alone as menstruators. We need everyone to be on our side and being educated. um, and so I do think it's cool that you guys also put an emphasis on, especially when you're working with kids, it's about all the kids learning, not just the girls. I think that's pretty interesting. And definitely there's a lot of I was just trying to say that that was very intriguing to me, because that's how I feel about it too. I think sometimes people don't want to include boys and men in the conversation, and I don't know if we're going to make any progress without them. We all have to work together in this. Um, and something else that really stuck out to me, and maybe you can touch a little bit more on this as well, is when you said that sometimes you go in communities and you guys don't feel quite welcome to be bringing some of these ideas, because they don't want to be letting go of some of their old, long held beliefs about periods. Um, is it difficult for, you guys as an organization, when you guys are trying to help a community and they don't seem um into it, or they seem a bit resistant? Is it the children that are resistant, or the adults, or both? What's that experience like for you?
So I feel like because we work the way that CRY works is we work with grassroots level NGOs who are a part of the community for a very long time. So the people who work in those NGOs are very well tuned with how the community thinks or how the community looks at certain things. So I feel like the whole entire it's a process of you know being in tune, being in sync with the community in the first place. They need to know that that person isn't an outsider who's coming in, just giving us things, or coming in and telling us that these things need to be changed. It's, if I have to give an analogy, it's like somebody entering our home and telling us that this is not how you set up your home, this is not how you do things around your home. So I feel like we will be a little bit of resistant towards somebody else coming and telling us. But the whole idea of a friend coming in, probably giving a suggestion, or like so I feel like that's the entire, if I have to put it in a simple manner, that's how we look at things, we look at doing things. So even though the resistance may come from, say, the adults in the community, and because the adults have a certain sense of how they how they operate, or what sort of thoughts they have, it's been passed down to the children as well. So the it needs to start from where it started, like from the parents, from the elders in the community to the children then. And if we are actually, because one cannot go with the other, like I can't just talk to kids and not talk to the parents, or talk to the parents and not talk to the kids. I feel like it's we what we're doing is we're talking to the entire circle, because we know that the entire circle will sort of help each other in some manner or not. Like they will sort of they will have an impact over one another. So what we do is we try to talk to them, we try to tell them that it's not coming from a point of view that we want to change a certain manner. We just want to place this in a way that that you tell us what your thoughts are also. It's very conversational. It takes a lot of work. It's not just this year or last year. It's been going on for decades now, where we're the partners that we have, we've been working with them for a very long time. And so a certain sense of they know that this whatever the organization is talking about to the community, they know that it comes from a place of wanting the well-being of them, wanting them to be aware about certain things. So I feel like that relationship building happens over time. Somebody giving you the trust that they that you somebody trusting you. I feel like trust is so much, it plays such a big factor, because when that happens, everything else sort of like smoothens, I guess. And that trust is something that we've built over the years with the community, with our NGO partners, with the NGOs that we work with, the grassroots level NGOs. And I feel that that is sort of the foundation of what we are trying to build with the community. So there might be a lot of resistance to the idea, or like the change may be slow, the progress may be slow, but it's definitely that they will sort of buy into the idea, agree that agree to the fact that yes, this needs to be talked about. And I don't want my a lot of times what we always get is also mothers or parents saying that I had a certain ideology, or I lived in a certain manner, but I don't want my kids to go through that. Like I did not get the education that I needed, so I am really not doing that well for myself today, but I don't want my kids to suffer. So I feel like that change in thought, in how parents think and what they want for their kids, really happens over time. So I feel like it's a process, it's a trust building process, it's a relationship building process. It's something that they need to know, that we're not trying to break ages old, like generation old ideas or traditions, but we're trying to let them know that um, girls need to we're just trying to show them how it's affecting the young girls and how it's affecting their children, and ultimately for them to take action towards that, to inspire them to take action towards that. So I feel like that's how we the organization deals with the resistance from the community, or trying to sort of like be trying to get them on their side, like get them to understand, to see what's actually needed to be seen. So it's a lot of work in terms of not giving up on the community, continuously talking to them, continuously having conversations with them, continuously having the work that we do with them on a regular basis, so that they know that it's not just one time I'm visiting and then I'm just not, I'm not going to come back. So they know that this is someone who will come every single day, hear what the problems that we have to say, find solutions that that are possible, probable, and come back again. So it's a process. Like I'm not just giving one time, like it's just not like a one time visit, but it's a continuous thing. It's going to happen over and over again, till a point where we know that okay, they are like, kids are actually freely talking about their problems, where their period problems, they are talking to their fathers, for instance, because this is a big thing, right? Like usually, and not just in a rural setup or in villages, a lot of times women are uncomfortable talking about periods, either with their fathers or brothers or their male friends, because they feel like there's awkwardness. So till the time we know that it's sort of getting we're ticking things, we're seeing the change that people are, we are seeing the change in the community. I feel like it's just an ongoing continuous process, and that's how we look at it.
Wow. That is so interesting to hear. Like decades worth of work goes into making these initiatives happen and making progress on them. And the way you explained it absolutely makes sense. I appreciate you taking the time to explain the process of the NGOs and the communities, because yeah, I was kind of curious about, yeah, what if someone's resistant to those ideas? And I think saying it's like a friend coming into your home and lightly suggesting they've taken the time and the dedication to build relationships with these people for the greater good. It's wow, it's so cool to hear, the devotion of the people working with your organization and their commitment to, making the world a better place, just generation by generation, getting the kids involved, getting the parents involved. That's so cool. And I'm sure when it comes to, the Let's Talk About Periods campaign you guys have been doing, it's probably so immensely helpful to have those NGOs inside those communities helping you guys out with this, and in talking to people that they've created relationships with, because with those relationships they have someone that they can trust, and that they've grown to like and everything. That's so cool. Like wow, just the dedication is really really cool to hear about. um well, I've really enjoyed learning a lot about Cry today. It's such a wonderful organization, and you've done such a wonderful job explaining why it's so wonderful. And I can just like hear your enthusiasm for what you do, and it's just so inspiring. Before we end, I just have a few questions about the Let's Talk Periods campaign that you guys have been working on. I was just curious. I didn't ask you this before, so if you don't have an answer, it's okay. But I just kind of thought of it. But as the Let's Talk About Periods campaign is coming to a close, you guys are wrapping it up. Do you have any particular achievement or event that you are, you know, specifically fond of or proud of that you guys were able to accomplish during your time during this campaign of the last few months?
Yeah, I mean, they were. It started off in June, July, and it's been a journey since then. But it's still, like as you mentioned, Karen, it's still ongoing, and it's going to. It's in the last leg of the campaign, and so we've divided the campaign in like two sets, like online and offline. And what we're doing online is we're asking people to go to the website, cry.org, dialogue and let's talk about periods, and give their, make a pledge. So we've got over 11,000 pledges from people, and we still keep getting those pledges from everybody. And we've been, when we have to talk about the online thing, offline things that we did, we've we've been we associated with an auto union in Delhi, and we were able to have rickshaws which had sanitary pads in it, and posters of the campaign run throughout the city. And we were able to reach almost like 20 million people through that initiative. And we recently had a soccer match, all girls soccer match, where 21 schools and colleges, girls from 21 schools and colleges participated to create awareness about periods, and to say that women, girls in sports, and shouldn't be anything different than boys in sports. And periods can't be something that doesn't allow them to play a soccer match. So that happened recently. We recently had that event, and we've been able to have experts like you, gynecologists, or writers, illustrators, authors, come on board, use their expertise, and actually raise awareness about the cause, and talk about their personal experiences, their personal journey, and how they think it's important to talk about periods. And we've been able to have training sessions and workshop sessions for our kids, for our volunteers, or across India. We've been able to distribute sanitary napkins and IC materials, a resource that can actually help kids to, when they get their workshop and they are done, to actually sit back and learn through things through the IC materials. We've been able to distribute sanitary pads to girls in our project areas. So there have been a lot of things that's happened, and we've been able to, like, talk about it in a larger scale, through a bus shelter advertisements in Bangalore and in Delhi. And we've had an event, a poster signing event in the east. So there's a station called Howrah Bridge, which is probably the largest and the oldest railway junction in India. And we had an event where the authorities from the railway came, and they actually signed off the posters, and then they were talking about it, and there were men who were talking about how important it is to, for both men and women equally to have conversations with their friends, their daughters, their sisters, their wives. And it was just great. Like, it was just great to see that we there were so many people, and we are so grateful that there were so many people who actually came forward, who believe in the cause, and they think that it's important, it's absolutely necessary that we don't let kids feel that it's an embarrassment, or they need to, like, be awkward about it, or be shy about it, and not talk about their problems. Like, it was such a wonderful thing to just see that there were so many people who just jumped in on this with us and said that, yeah, we'd love to collaborate in whatever way that we can. So I feel like it's been a journey to actually see such wonderful people, such talented people use their expertise, and to create the awareness that this cause, this initiative needs. And I feel like, I personally feel like it's not going to stop here. Even though the campaign ends, it's going to be an be something that's it's going to be something that's going to have its, it's going to be a continuous process. It's going to keep happening. We are going to keep talking about what it is to have open dialogues about periods. I feel like it's not going to have an end with this campaign. It's just the beginning, is how I look at it. But yeah, it was wonderful to see the kind of strength we got from people, and it was just wonderful. And we're super grateful to everybody who made this possible for us, all the achievement that we've had with this campaign. It's just because of all the initiatives and all the strength that we got from people.
Wow, just how incredible. You guys must feel so good. Everyone who's working at Cry about how successful this campaign was. Wow, that is so much that was able to be accomplished in a few months. And I agree, this is just the beginning, you know. I think this is something where it's just going to keep carrying forward, and it's so amazing, you know, you guys committing yourselves to the topic of periods and menstruation and how much difference you guys have already made, you know, throughout different communities that you guys are involved with. It's just, it's been exciting for me to watch, you know, on the outside as I've been doing research on y'all as I've got ready to do my collaboration. And as I said before, it's truly an honor that, you know, you guys reached out to me to be a part of this, and it is absolutely in line with everything that I stand for, and my podcast stands for. And wow, it's just what a what a way, you know, to end the campaign. And I'm glad that you were able to reflect on everything you guys have done. It's just like, it's so cool to see organizations out there meeting people, doing the work, and truly making a difference. You know, this just creating these conversations is really the first step, you know. Is And of course that's your whole campaign. Let's talk about it, period. And I absolutely love it. You know, I appreciate you coming on today again, Jaya, and just telling me all about the organization that you work for. And, you know, I really enjoyed hearing about all the effort and all the work you guys put to just make such a wonderful difference in the lives of children in India and as a society. It's just, it was really, really fun for me to listen to all the hard work you guys have been doing. And before we go, I know that we already talked about this a little bit, but as of right now, Cry has their Let's Talk About Periods campaign. It is coming to a close, but if you go to cry.org/LTAP, so Let's Talk About Periods, you can sign the pledge. And it sounds like there's already 11,000 signatures, which is amazing. Let's keep adding to that. Go ahead, just sign your name, and then you get to write a little comment about why you're pledging to end period shame and the ways in which you plan on helping to end period shame. I did it last week. It's very easy. Go ahead and do that. And then, Jaya, I was curious. Do you guys have a place on your website for donations, and what does that look like?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's when you visit cry.org, you will just it's right there at the top corner, and it's for the cause. It's for each single cause that people would want to donate for. So if it's education that you'd want to donate, if it's for the health and nutrition of a child, you'd want to donate. So there are causes that you can actually donate to, and the amount varies. Like you can, it's I feel like personally, I feel like every small act of kindness, generosity, every small step counts in making a big difference in the lives of kids. And that's how we've actually been able to create like the impact that we've been able to create in the past year itself. We were able to have we were able to create impact over 1 million children, where we were able to retain them in schools. We were able to give them healthy meals and keep them away from malnutrition, keep kids safe in the sense that child marriages were avoided. We kept them safe from child labor. So I feel like a lot of these things are uh, have been, a lot of these things we're able to do because of the support that we get from everybody, from our donors, from our supporters, from our volunteers, from people who advocate for the cause. It's all them, and it's their belief in us that we're able to do this, and we're able to create the kind of impact that we do for children. And I feel like every however small that we think we want to either donate or support in whatever manner, I feel like it's just going to make a big difference to us when we're helping the kids. So it's a we're very grateful for people who actually support us in any manner, not just donations or talking about it, but every single small help is just highly appreciated, and we're very grateful towards to because it just gets us closer to the vision and the goal that we have for kids.
That's absolutely great. And any way that you guys can support helps. I will be sure to include the pledge link, the donation link, and their social media links in the podcast notes here today. So, one small step you can do is just follow Cry on social media. They have a wonderful Instagram account where they're constantly showing the ways in which they're giving back to the local communities across the 19 different states in India. And it's been really, really great to see what you guys are doing. So I'll make sure to include all that information for you. And Jaya, again, thank you so much. I had a blast making these two podcast episodes with you. It was really, really fun to be able to connect on this way. And I look forward to hopefully interacting in the future. If you guys ever have another period campaign, you can call me.
Thank you so much, Karen. I cannot tell you how wonderful it has been to talk to you, not just today, but over the last month, and to have this conversation with you. I think you have a beautiful initiative, and I feel like I do follow talk about your period, and I see the kind of content and the conversation that you have with people, and they are so relatable. They are something that I would want to hear, and I feel like it's great to that you agreed to do this, and I was just so happy to just do this with you and to talk to you over the past month and today, and to have this conversation with you. I think it's wonderful. I think the work that you're doing to just get everybody and to talk to people around the world, and to actually get different perspectives and ideas, and their experiences, their journey. I think it's beautiful, because I think we need more of that. We need more people to actually come forward and talk about their experiences, because that is what is going to help younger generation, younger adolescent girls and boys and everybody in general, to just have to know that okay, there is somebody out in the far end of the world who thinks exactly how I think, or who's going through exactly what I'm going through. I think you're just bridging the gap that we're not able to see or hear people from the other end. I feel like the stuff that you're doing is just great, amazing, and I would love to work with you the on a campaign that we run for periods, in the future, because I feel like the kind of impact that you have, like someone who believes in open dialogues and open discussions and just talking about your experiences. I feel that's what's more important than anything else. And thank you so much for inviting me here and to talk to me about this. To just have this conversation with me, and letting me giving me this space to talk about Cry, its campaign, what the organization is to talk about my experiences. I'm really grateful. I really appreciate you taking this time and letting me talk so much about my experiences and journey. It's been wonderful. Like, I cannot tell you how excited I was to do this. It's just great. It's Thank you so much, Karen. Thank you, really.
Of course, and thank you so much. Oh my gosh, you're so kind. Well, I hope to be making even a smallest difference. The way I tell people is like, if through talking about periods openly and doing that like proudly and boldly, I inspire even just one young person who feels insecure or embarrassed about their period to feel less embarrassed. That's all I care about. And I really, really.
Sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you there, but I just
Oh,
want to
you're
tell you
fine.
that I'm sure there are tons of people who are inspired, looking at your content, your podcast, and hearing it, and just knowing that it's absolutely all right. So I feel like you're doing much more than like creating a small difference.
Well, that's so sweet of you. Wow, that means a lot. And um yeah, that's so kind of you. I'm so fortunate that we were able to connect. And yeah, if you guys ever have any projects in the future, let me know.
For sure, for sure.
Wonderful. Well, Jaya, thank you so much again. And again, go check out the links in the show notes so you can check out Cry's Instagram page, their donate page, and their pledge page for Let's Talk About Periods. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to Talk About Your Period. Be sure to subscribe to my podcast, and if you liked what you heard, please consider leaving a kind review. If there is anyone you know who would enjoy or benefit from listening to this podcast, please spread the word. You can follow Talk About Your Period on all social media platforms, where I recap previous episodes and share information about upcoming guests. Do you have a story to share? Go to talkaboutyourperiod.com to fill out my interest form and let's get you on the podcast. I hope this podcast inspires you to talk about your period with others. After all, it's just blood. I would like to thank my guest today, and I would also like to thank my editor, Neil Titus, for editing this episode and creating the show music. Don't forget to subscribe to Talk About Your Period on your favorite podcast streaming platform, and I'll talk to you next time.